Welcome to Impact Farming, where we introduce you to the people and ideas that will have a massive impact on your farming operation. Brought to you by Farm Marketer. Sit down, start the engine, and let's roll with today's show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We are live on location at Ag in Motion 2018. And today I have a very special guest with me, Heather Brown. Heather is an investment consultant with Investors Group, and she specializes in farm. So what that means is she works with farmers and she works to help farmers succeed. So I'm gonna get Heather to explain what she does and touch a little bit on her personal background as well, because not only does she work with farmers, she is a farmer, so she understands investments and succession planning, but she also knows what it's like to be a farmer. So Heather, please tell me about you and what you do.
Okay, so I am a consultant with Investors Group. I primarily deal with agriculture. That is my number one. I love what I do. I love watching farmers succeed in their business and having that aha moment with me, right? Nice. There's nothing that makes me more happy than that. Yeah. So I'm going to touch a little bit on why I decided to become a investment consultant, and that is because my dad had to sell his land. Okay, and it was a very emotional time for him. And at the time I was in lending at another financial institution, and I didn't know how to exactly help him. Right? And so he got the money, and then he just kind of went to someone else and went, help me invest. Right? Okay. Yeah. So that is key. Yeah. And then he slowly saw his money dwindle, and it wasn't performing the way he wanted it to. And so therefore he wanted me to take a look at it. And being in lending, I knew a fair amount about investing, but not enough to actually help him. Right. So I thought, well, if he's going through this, there's got to be a myriad of other farmers going through this process as well. So true. So true. And there was, he sold his land because there was no successors to the land. I mean, I am where I am. I'm married to a farmer. My brother didn't want to take over, so therefore that's why he sold the land, right? So we wanted just to make sure that he was invested properly. So I did some digging into his books and his finances to see where he could maybe do better. Of course, I didn't really, again, know a lot about it. And that is when I switched from lending to investing. And it was primarily to help farmers. And because they're close to my heart, I'm very empathetic toward them. I want them to come somewhere where they're absolutely 100% comfortable and, talk with me. Let's all be transparent here. I mean, the information isn't going anywhere. It's staying with me.
And that's important that farmers know that, right?
Yes.
I think as a group, farmers tend to be pretty closed. I mean, we don't want the neighbors to know what we're doing. We don't want anybody in the community to know what we're doing. And farmers can just be private people.
Absolutely. And that is, even my dad was very private. He didn't really want to divulge very much information to me. True. Right? Yeah. And because he didn't want me to know, that what his worth was. But I said, in order for me to help you, you have to let me, look into this. And so a part of that is building a plan.
I love this part.
Yes.
I love this part.
Yes.
Okay.
So building a plan with me, and that is what I do. So I build plans for farmers and see where they're at right now, what can we do for the future, and to the time of death, or to the time you're successioning the farm off to another, your son, or are you selling the land, etc.
You work with, sorry to jump in there, but you work work with a lot of farmers that are doing succession planning, right?
Absolutely.
So if a farmer is looking to pass the farm down to the next generation, they'll come see you.
Yes.
They'll sit down and they'll do some financial investment planning.
Absolutely.
And that's where you have your very, very clever binder. Heather told me about this, and just to give you guys a little bit of background, we connected on our why, on really wanting to serve and help farmers succeed. And when she told me about her whole approach to financial planning and really setting farmers up for success, I loved about it. I really, really loved it and wanted her to talk about it. So can you share with us your financial binder, your plan that you put together?
So what I do is, once I gather all the information from the client, and it is important to have all the information from the client, and I understand.
Not just bits and pieces?
Not just bits and pieces everywhere.
Okay.
But I need the full
all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so when I developed this binder, it was to make sure that everything was covered in there. And I also have a checklist for me as a consultant so I don't forget everything, right?
Yeah.
And the client knows that, yes, we've done it, because I'm checking things off as we do it.
Excellent.
So part of it is, a will. A will is very important to have. And why that's important for me to see the will is because so I can make sure that your will is matching up with your investments and the beneficiaries on the investments. So that's one thing that's
important.
Very important to have.
Well, and let me jump in there. From our prior conversations, you said in the event that somebody passes away and their investments are divvied out this way, stated this way, but the will says something else, the will wins out, right?
Yes, and then it can end up in probate, and which means it goes to the court process, and then that takes a bunch of time to wait. So this way we just make it simple and easy for the client and the family, because of course at the time of death it's very distressful.
Right.
And who wants to deal with that?
Nobody.
You just want to make sure things are going to run smoothly. Okay?
Absolutely.
So the other thing, I have in there is power of attorney. Do you have a medical disclosure you want to have?
Okay.
Right? So do you want a DNR?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that is all encompassing.
It is all encompassing.
It's kind of that.
Yes, and
Success
so
plan.
all you have to do when we're finished is grab this binder, and all your information is in there. Okay.
What a great idea.
It is. And the other thing that I would like to mention is, your investment statements go in there. So it's probably, some farmers, they're not all with me. Right? Sometimes they're at another financial institution, and that's just fine. But at least all your statements are in one place, and you know where everything is.
Your bank account statements for every account.
Safe deposit box number, where the key is, where everything,
Wow.
So that
what a great idea.
Yeah, so that you're not looking as someone who's in distress because your loved one has passed on. You know where everything is. And I hate to say it, but oftentimes it's the men who pass on first. The women don't have a lot of experience, I guess I should say, about bill paying or reading statements, et cetera, et cetera. So when I take clients on, I want to meet with the husband and wife so I can discuss what the statements look like and how to read them. And I just want to be absolutely clear with everyone on what I'm doing.
Everybody's on the same page.
Everyone's on the same page. Absolutely.
Very
Absolutely.
smart. Good.
Yeah.
Well, and I know farm families that have gone through that as well. So whether it's the mom or dad, they pass away, and then the other farming member might not have been fully in the loop on operations. And my goodness, as a farmer, we have so many assets and liabilities and accounts and different partners to start looking for each of those bits and pieces and accounts when you're grieving. What an amazing plan that you put together for farmers, so that in a time when they don't want to think about that stuff, they can just pull out the binder.
Absolutely.
And work and deal with it in their grief.
Yes,
right?
and that is one thing I'm I'm really proud of. And even, you know, just normal everyday things like you get your statement, you just go put it in your binder and then you can look and see, you know, how everything's doing as far as markets go. And so that is very important to me, that each of my clients get a binder.
I love
so I am actually revamping it a little bit because there are some things that I noticed that were missing.
Okay.
So once I do that, then everyone's going to get an updated binder. I'm going to call my clients,
excellent.
bring it in, and we'll fix it up for you. Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, that's such a great concept that you started, and naturally there's going to be more that you want to add. So it's the go-to place for everything farm related, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
I love that. And you know, again, as I mentioned before, Heather and I really connected on the mission and the drive to help farmers succeed. And just speaking to Heather, I love the fact that she is a farmer.
Yes.
Has the farm operation.
Yes.
She knows farming, and she's taking that experience and trying to help other farmers. So I absolutely love that.
And you know, I'm glad you said that, because I am a very passionate and compassionate person when it comes to farmers.
You can tell.
I'm here to serve you. I'm here to do the best for you.
Yes.
I want to help you. I want to help your family. If we need to have family meetings, let's have family meetings.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
If I need to talk to your accountant about succession planning, let me talk to your accountant. If we're investing, let me talk to your accountant, because then we can mitigate some taxation risk, right?
Yeah.
That maybe you wouldn't have to pay. You know, I can talk to your accountant, he can talk with me or she, and we can make sure that the portfolio is, you know, as perfect as we could get it.
Yeah.
And we're mitigating all that tax, because as farmers we do pay a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
The other thing I do want to mention is there is, of course, corporate and incorporated farms.
Yes.
Some people are, you know, both. You know, they have a corporate farm, and maybe some of the land is still not incorporated yet, and people don't know how to go about doing that. That is for your accountant to really detail that to you and tell you. But then once that process happens, you know, there is corporate investing that we can do. It doesn't all have to be personal.
Okay. So you can invest on behalf of the farming corporation.
Absolutely.
Just the same as the individual.
Yes.
Well, and you know, we just did another episode with Dean from Myers Norris Penny.
Yes.
And we were talking about incorporating the farm, and people don't realize how very similar it is just to being a farmer on your own, right?
Yes.
There's differences, but it makes sense now that you say the corporation can invest.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, the corporation can invest because there's usually a large portion of the money in the corporation. So if your corp doesn't want to be taxed on it, then you have to do different things within there, kind of churn it around and really figure it out. And that's my job.
Okay.
That's my job. Your job is to disclose all the information to you. My job is to see what I can do and then give recommendations to the client.
Okay.
Okay? Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. So you work really as a partner in the financial equation.
Absolutely.
You're not a substitute for an accountant.
No.
They need an accountant to get the best advice, planning, taxation strategies, and really you are the investment end, and you work with the accountants and other partners to see the whole picture.
Absolutely.
To make the right decision for the farmer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I love it.
And in saying that, I would just like to also point out, if a farmer is selling land, such as my father did, you know, it's easy for me to work with a realtor or say your lender to determine how you're going to structure the payments that you will get, and kind of mitigate again that risk that the farmer will get in return, so that we don't have such high taxation in the first year.
Okay.
So I mean, there's many things we can do. It's very different for every farmer, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, no two people or farmer is exactly alike.
Okay.
So that is why, I mean, it's okay for me to give advice over, you know, a camera here, but ideally, I need to know what your situation is. You know, how much debt you have, how much investment income you have. Are you in egg stability? Is there something we can do with that? There's just so many things that we can do, and it just pumps me up to be able to help farmers. And they have an aha moment every single time. When I show them a detailed plan on my software, and they just say, well, I've never seen one before, or they think we don't need one. And I just say, look, you can either throw spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks, or you can actually get a plan.
Not a great plan.
No. Or you can get a plan and know exactly where you are and exactly what your retirement's going to look like.
Okay.
Does that make sense too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'm really thinking of the farmers at home that are watching this or listening to our podcast program. And you deal with a lot of farmers at the end of their career because they're doing succession planning. They've amassed some wealth over the years, or they're going to transfer the wealth in terms of the farm to the next generation. When does a farmer know it's the right time to start talking to financial professionals?
Okay, so that's a really good question, because I mean, our farm personally, when my son comes up to start farming, it's going to be a 4th generation farm.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so my father-in-law currently is, you know, slowly, and we all know farmers never retire totally, right?
Really? Yes, we know that.
Yeah, we know that. And so, but there is a succession plan happening right now.
Okay, fantastic.
And so, you really can't wait maybe as long as he waited, because it has to be more involved than that. Like, family members are involved. It gets a little convoluted. And I think it's really important, again, to be transparent with your children about it. If you want to be, like, you don't have to be, but it just makes it easier, especially when you have, say, one son that farms, one son that doesn't, and then you have a daughter in there, you know, like, so fair and equal, in my mind, are 2 different things.
Yes.
Right? So maybe someone's okay with having this amount while the farming son takes over the land and the process of farming again. I would say when you first start thinking that, I might want to start succession planning right now, that's when you do it. Okay. And usually the farmers within their 60s, you know, late 60s. But even now, my husband is 47, and we even are thinking about the succession, what it's going to look like for our son.
Great. That is good for you guys.
Yes.
That you're thinking of it early.
Yes, because you want to make sure that, you know, everything's going to be sustainable, and, you know, you're going to be profitable. What do we need to have in the bank account in order for him to move forward, right? So, I mean, even then, we're thinking about it all the time. And maybe that's my mind because I'm a financial advisor and that's my wheelhouse, but I really think it's important to talk about it at all times, right?
Well, and you know, I think the mistake that so many farmers make is they want the farm to continue, but those transition conversations are hard, right? For whatever reason it is, but failing to plan is planning to fail, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
So I know as more information comes out there and business planning and succession planning, it's on farmers' minds. But I heard a very smart lady ask 3 questions. She said, if you're succession planning, do you want this farm to continue? If you answer yes, when are you going to do the succession planning? Is it while you are still alive or after you're gone?
Right.
Number 2. And then number 3, with whom are you going to do the succession planning? How are the farming children involved? How are the off-farm children involved?
Yes.
And she said, really, once you have the answers to those 3 questions, the rest is really easy because there's great consultants like
Yes.
you, accountants, that have the knowledge, that know all the planning and processes that
Yep.
need to be done. It's just starting that conversation.
Absolutely.
And starting it earlier.
And starting it earlier.
Yeah.
And actually, when you said that, I always think it's better before death.
Yeah,
obviously.
totally.
Right.
Let people know where you're at, right?
Let people know where you're at.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen disputes between families.
Totally.
And
It's heartbreaking.
it's heartbreaking, and it can tear families apart. And,
It does.
and they don't talk for years or even for the rest of their lives because of what maybe mom and dad did with the farm.
I know
splitting it
a
up.
handful on my hand.
Me too.
Just the quick thinking of had they had communications and planning, that could have been avoided.
Yes, and that's why I say fair and equal are not the same, right?
Yeah.
Because the non-farming child might be okay with, say, $100,000 from an insurance policy or what have you, and the farming son will be happy with, you know, taking over the land. I mean, there's a lot of sweat equity that people don't think about.
Right.
That the farming son
It should be
or,
equal.
or daughter,
It should be equal, right?
Yeah.
But meanwhile,
Yeah, farming son or daughter that are putting into the land. I mean, and you know, often for years they're not getting paid what they're worth. So once dad gets and mom get a little older, they start getting a little more and more from the farm, and those are, you're paying your dues. It's kind of you know,
sweat equity.
Sweat equity. You're getting a payoff from it, and in my mind, you have to talk to your kids in order to know what is okay or what isn't okay with them. And you know, not everyone's going to be okay with it, right? And there might be some hard feelings, but at least you know about it beforehand instead of when you know, death of family occurs and you just find out about it.
Right. And then that's, you know, you're dealing with grief and then
shock.
And shock.
Yeah.
Where everybody could plan and process and discuss prior to.
Absolutely. So that's why I think that, like I was saying, the binder is very important, because then you can structure everything in one place. Even, you know, your taxes from year to year, your will, everything. And it's just nice and compact, and all you have to do is flip through pages and see where you are. I mean, it's just that simple. So I hope that helps.
Great. That's great. So really, when I'm sitting here chatting with you and farmers are looking to do succession planning, or they have some income they want to invest, leaving that succession planning, you're part of that puzzle, that equation, that success team.
Yes.
And if you want to do a strong succession plan, that involves lawyers, I'd imagine, accountants, investment consultants, and on and on.
Yes.
That's correct?
Absolutely, 100% correct. And, you know, it's very important that, well, I think it's important that the farmer gives access for, say, me to contact the accountant or the lawyer, whoever.
Right.
So that we can all communicate. And that's the name of the game, it's just communication.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, you know, then I can only help you so far.
Right. You're really their team.
Yeah, I'm very comprehensive, and I like farmers to think of me as their accountability buddy.
Okay.
You know, so that they can stay on track of where they want to go. Because often they think, and sometimes they change their minds, like, well, no, I want to buy a house in Arizona and we're going to live there 6 months of the year. Things change all the time.
And then you just adapt.
You adapt the plan and you see where they are and make it work. Maybe people have to live off a little bit less, and they're okay with that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we really focus on the succession planning, what they want to do, what they want to accomplish, what they want for their children, or even their grandchildren, you know, in some instances. And I really...
What a great way to just plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, back to the plan, like I was saying, a lot of people don't think they need one. They think, oh, I'll just sell the land. Or they haven't ever been asked about a plan before.
Yeah.
But once you see it, It is amazing.
Well, you're inspiring me.
Yeah.
I'm an organized business person,
Yes.
but I don't have that. And heaven forbid something happened to myself or Anthony or both of us.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yeah.
You're going to be pulling statements and going to the lawyer, and that's a big headache for people to deal with. So you've inspired me here
thank
on this
you.
show. So
Thank you.
I appreciate that as well. Heather's here at Egg in Motion, and
Yes.
Investors Group has a booth here. So I know you're really busy.
Yes.
I appreciate the time you've taken to talk to our audience and really share your role as an investment consultant and what you can help do for their family, for their farm operation. And
Yes.
really, I want to sum it up as planning for success, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Excellent.
I want everyone to be set up for success.
Okay.
And once they have that, people really breathe easier.
I believe it.
They just kind of have that weight off their shoulders and just have the moment.
Nice.
And that's what I love.
That's great.
I live for that moment. So you're right. Yeah.
Well, and farmers are so busy. They work morning to night.
Absolutely.
Production, as a farmer, we know we are so busy. We all know the things we need to do business-wise. To be able to go in, see you in one session, sit down, get that all together, have a plan, and then just pull it out here and there, assess, evaluate, change.
Absolutely.
That's a big weight off the shoulders.
Yes, it
That's
is.
great.
And just because you said it's one, usually it's several meetings initially.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. That makes sense. That's a
Right.
lot to do in one meeting.
It is a lot to do.
Yeah.
But then we can meet as often as the person would like. So,
Okay.
if you want to meet quarterly, semi-annually, annually for sure.
Yeah.
And go through everything. But yes, that's exactly what I do.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Okay.
That's important.
Yeah.
So if farmers want to find you, learn more about what you do, can they find you online?
Yes,
Okay.
they can. If they just type in Heather Brown Investors Group, you will find me in Google.
Okay.
And also I am in rural Saskatchewan. My office is based in Outlook, but I do travel.
Okay.
I travel and do, farm sales, Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. So I'm kind of all over the place too, but I do try to keep regular business hours. But best number to contact me at is 306-858-7148. So I always give clients my phone number because I want them to feel comfortable that they always have a source to come to if something should go wrong.
Perfect.
Right? So please give me a call if you think any of this information has been valuable to you.
Excellent. On behalf of our audience, I want to thank you so much for taking your time, sharing your knowledge, and coming on the show to help our farmers succeed. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Tracy.
You've been listening to Impact Farming. For more great episodes and articles designed to help you manage and grow your farming operation, head on over to farmmarketer.com. Don't forget to sign up while you're there. We will see you on the next episode.